How you doing? Hey, tonight I wanted to do some port work, but since my flex shaft broke, I kind of got stalled, if you know what I mean. So I decided to do some repairs. And I got several saws here that need repaired, but let me show you what I decided to do. So you see, I got all these saws, but I was sitting here thinking, that one there needs a new carburetor. That one over there is the one we ported and put the pipe on and everything. But I want to change the cylinder out. The exhaust drift is too high for my liking, so I want to do another cylinder. But I don't. My flex shaft broke, so I couldn't work on that one. I got another cylinder for that one that I could have worked on, but I wanted to do a little port work to that one, but just a tiny bit, not a whole lot. And I could go down the line. The 700 over there, the oiler is working, but not quite right. So I wanted to work on that one. This is the main one I want to start on next, this Pioneer. See, I built this saw, and I'm pretty certain the rotating assembly is out of balance. So I really wanted to tear into that one, but I didn't do that yet. That's going to be a little bigger project. So what I decided to mess with is this guy right here. This is the XL130 that I ported. And, I didn't really do any videos on this build. So you're just getting, cutting videos. But today, I'm going to show you here. I had some oiler problems. The oil system just was not functioning properly. I was getting oil, but not like it should. So we're going to go through it and see what we can find. So I have this saw here that refuses to oil. See, I got the oil tank topped off, and I can pump all I want. Nothing happens. I basically get the same situation from the oil pump as well. So I've already had the oil tank apart, cleaned everything out, put it back together, and still the same issue. And I've also done 2 different oil pumps and still the same issue. So I think what I'm going to do today here is pull the oil lines off and see if they might be clogged. I'm suspicious. We might also have a check valve issue here. I'm thinking it's either a clogged oil line or a check valve. So that's what I'm going to tear into today. I'll let you know what we find. All right, so I went through the whole saw. I was checking check valves and everything, and it appears as though my problem might be with this guy. I don't have any oil flow through this section. So I'm thinking it's this guy. And you access this right here behind the starter. There is this screw. So it's right here behind the starter, but I noticed a difference. So I went to a part saw and I pulled this one out. So I'm going to put this one in to see if it works. But the part saw had this in there and this one did not. So it might have just been that this was missing, but I'm not going to check it. I'm just going to stick it together with this piece anyway and run with it, I'm not going to do that experiment, but I'm going to stick this in there and see what happens. It didn't matter what I was doing. I wasn't getting any oil flow at all. So I'm going to try this and see what happens, because I think this was my problem. Alrighty, so quick rundown. What I ran into is I replaced that check valve or whatever you want to call it inside the oil tank. And that made a little bit of an improvement. So I replaced this check valve, cleaned out this line and everything. That made a little bit more of an improvement. Then I cleaned out this check valve and the oil line and everything, and that still made just a slight improvement. Then I went ahead in here to the oil plunger and I pulled it out, replaced the O-rings. And it's still, I don't think that made a difference. So what I did is I was sitting here just pressing on this for 20 minutes probably just thinking about it, thinking about it, and thinking about it. And then I pulled this thing apart again, this oil plunger, and I took like a little miniature wire brush to it with some cleaner, cleaned it out really good. Then I went ahead and replaced the O-rings a second time. Then when I put it back together, we got this. We got her working flawlessly. So I'm guessing it was a combination of everything, but mainly at the plunger, just, you know, buildup of crud in there, and the O-rings were probably getting chewed up because it took 2 sets of O-rings to get it to work. So I'm thinking there was just enough crud in there to wreak havoc, if you know what I mean. But we got the oiler working on the saw. Alrighty. So, you know, O-rings. The whole thing came down to needing O-rings mostly. You know, the simple things. The other stuff needed work on too. You know, they were causing some issues, but not like the O-rings were. But, you know, it's one of those things. We got to have oil in the chain so that the saw will perform properly. And that's been a struggle with this saw. It just didn't want to oil properly. So next step with this saw, I think, is test cuts. So we'll get into that here in the future. But I thought you'd enjoy this little adventure of figuring out the issue on this 130 on the oil system. So maybe somebody out there who's having the same issue might be able to learn from this little adventure today. So, hey, we'll catch you on the next one. Later.